Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
Sorry,
thank
sorry
you.
for the inconvenience, right?
Okay,
So
sir.
can
No
you
issue.
see that whiteboard, please?
Yes, sir. We can see,
Right.
but it not like we cannot see anything you write, but we can see you over there.
Can you see?
No, can't see, sir. Whatever you write, we cannot see in the board. No issue. We will take the. We can take from class, physical class
Yeah,
students something.
yeah. Basically, not I'm not. I mean, explaining any theoretical part because you can't see that it's not unfair. So anyway, so we'll go on that thing. So what I explained that. So what's the composition of the paper, then how what the evaluation method, right? Basically, the our subject is corporate taxation. So in this subject, the evaluation is has I mean there has two parts. One thing is continuation evaluation. Other thing is paper year-end paper, right? So the continuous evaluation has three parts. One thing is MCQ. Other one is individual assignment, and other one is group assignment, right? So the paper you have 100 marks. It has two parts basically. First part is corporate taxation computation related to the resident tax company's tax liability, income tax liability. Second part of that, the second question of the part one could be indirect or the non-resident tax liability, right? Question. There are four questions in the part two. Out of that, basically, you can elect three questions. So that's how it's going. So subject is corporate taxation, right? So in this first we are discussing. We try to understand the tax liability of the resident company. Okay,
Okay,
right.
sir. Okay.
So in general, I mean you may heard that you can hear me, right? You may have that taxation, right, in your day-to-day lifetime, day-to-day life. So what do you mean by taxation? I think you learned in the previous part, right? What do you mean by taxation? Tax? What is that? Sorry, payment for government. Okay. You learned, right? Some extent. Taxation, I think, taxation of the individual. You have, I assume that you are having that knowledge, right? What is that? You have to talk. What do you mean by tax? Imposed by government, it is to it is so individual. Some extent, yes, correct. So it's a payment by a citizen or the person within some jurisdiction that we call tax jurisdiction to the government. So therefore, only government can impose taxes. Right? Only government can impose taxes. So as per the Sri Lanka Constitution, Article 148 they specify Parliament has the full control over the public banking. Therefore, tax always can be imposed by government. Once it is imposed by the government, it is a mandatory payment. It is mandatory. No one can escape from that. Person who is chargeable for that has to pay. Right? You may learn that on the statement of financial statement in the comprehensive income statement. Tax is charged after the charging all the expenditure. We recognize the profit before tax. They are not to be charged income tax. Is it an expenditure or not? because we in the financial and the comprehensive income statement we recognize the turnover, revenue, and thereafter we charge cost of sales or whatever thing, and administrative expenditure or whatever thing, then selling and distribution expenditure, then finance and other cost, and all those things we are recognizing. Thereafter we recognize profit before tax. After that we charge income tax. Is it an expenditure or not? Expenditure, right? Expenditure, yes, expenditure. So then why it is not coming under the administrative expenditure or selling and distribution expenditure or financing? Well, so structural expenses, so ATA you are charging to the administrative cost. Social security contribution levy it is charged to the where say we can deduct under the from the revenue or whatever. Mandatory expense or mandatory, right?
No direct connection to operation.
How you are getting that is not connected to the operation? Because if we earn profit, so we have to pay tax. Why? Yeah, recognize it separately. So from your also we can develop some extent. So you can see in the financial statement, in the comprehensive income statement, what we are recognizing? Income and expenditure. To me, it is income and expenditure. Difference between the income and expenditure, we recognize as profit or gain, whatever. Right? So that expenditure, so expenditure is the definition for the expenditure is the outgoing. Right? So whatever the economic benefit further resource, it is outgoing. So we recognize that. Right? Payment of taxes is also outgoing. Then it should be an expenditure definition. So we call tax expense, right? So to me, so you can see whatever expenditure we charge to the income statement, there is a direct benefit flow to the organization. Say we purchase some material, we recognize another of sales. Why? To manufacture something. We can use that thing and we can manufacture and we can say we pay electricity and we are getting the service of the electricity. But for the tax, it is very unlikely or very difficult way to relate what the exact benefit flow to the organization. Can you make? What the direct benefit or the exact benefit what you are getting because of paying taxes? Very difficult. There are, but it's very difficult. But nevertheless, in other expenditure, we can, that's why we recognize the administration cost. It's related to the administration. Selling and distribution, related to the selling and distribution. Finance and other. Directly related to the business, but it's bring some benefit to the organization. But in case of the tax, which is also expenditure, it's very difficult, very hard to relate how that expenditure contribute to the operation of the organization. Right? Another side. If you are not paying taxes, not discharging your tax liability, then it's a serious issue to the organization. Good example. Maybe these days discussion, you can hear those things. You can see that WM Mandis and company, they cease their operation. Why? They have not paid taxes. Their directors go to jail. Right? Everything finished. You can see the gravity of that. So whereas if you are not paid your electricity bill, obviously they are sending red notice or whatever thing and all those things. Thereafter some period and all those. And only thing what happens, they will not supply that money. So we may have alternate. And if you not pay taxes, so government can take action, recovery action, right? So with that recovery action, some action is they can stop the operation of the organization. Right? Simple example I could say, actually this is my personal experience. One of company got a demand notice from the actually the demand notice, tax demand notice, it has sent to the bank, saying to the bank, please stop all the payment from bank account of so and so. So bank is not entertaining any payment thereafter, not facilitated. So can the business is run? Operation got to start. So reason is non-compliance with the tax law, not payment of taxes. So resulted to stop the bank transaction. You can see, right? So say 1 day or 2 days, in some occasion, so whole the business can instruct by tax law, why? As this demand notice and whatever things we call non-compliant. So because of the non-compliance, they can take the tax. That's the seriousness of this, right? So therefore it is very important. So therefore we are recognizing separately this as an expenditure, but we cannot relate any direct benefit flow to the organization because of that particular expenditure, right? Of course, it is an expenditure, right? So anybody who is paying taxes, please stand up. Stand up. Paying taxes. So that we can recognize person who is getting more than 100,000 per month. Oh, you are not disclosing your income. It will be the both way, right? We are getting more than 100,000, but we are not disclosing. We are not paying taxes. That's correct, but you know, this is debatable or the very interesting topic in the political stages. Right, because now next this month is the election month. Now very recently this political speech coming out, so you can see the all of the opposition parties they are criticizing all the government policies and all that. So that is that tax burden is shifted to the gender, the public. So then why they are doing it? The gender public means you are the part of that, right? Right? So actually in taxation there are two types of taxes. Basically we can categorize into two types. One thing is we call direct taxes, which is imposed on profit and income of a person. Right? Direct tax. Other tax we call indirect taxes. Indirect taxes are imposed on your consumption. It is consumption based tax. So consumption based tax is everybody is paying. Whether you know or not, you are paying taxes. Right? If you go to the shop, when you are buying this pen, you have already paid tax. Right? Simple example, indirect tax in Sri Lanka, the value-added tax, VAT 69 ml VAT. Only VAT, value-added tax, right? So VAT, so now right now 18%. Right? If you buy a pen, you pay 100 rupees, so you are paying another 18 rupees, or you are paying 180. 18 goes as tax. So without your knowledge, so without you, even you not know, you have already paid taxes. Therefore, any person, I could say, engage in any economic transaction is subject to tax. So everywhere you go, taxes coming behind you. It could be in Sri Lanka VAT, in Bangladesh VAT, India GST, Singapore GST, Canada GST. Likewise, wherever you go, that indirect tax is there, as well as tax on income also there. Some countries they don't have tax on income. Very limited countries, right? All over the world. So the tax is come behind you, right? Therefore, nobody can escape. So that's what it says. So there are two certain things. One thing is paying taxes. Other thing is debt. Right. So moving forward. So therefore, the tax is a mandatory fee or financial charge levied by any government on an individual or an entity. So we are learning this is general definition. So why government is imposing tax? There are three main objectives. Government to achieve imposition tax. By imposition of tax, they are trying to achieve three objectives. First thing is of course revenue. That is main objective. Revenue to government to finance their capital and revenue net equity. Right? To finance capital and revenue net expenditure, government impose taxes. In Sri Lanka, more than 80% of the government revenue is composition from tax revenue. It could be income tax, it could be what the indirect tax, whatever. Right? How many tax you know in Sri Lanka? Can you tell me one tax? Tax and you are pay, okay. It's only income tax, SSCM, personal income tax, custom duty, service based tax, NBD, stamp duty, handling water. Next one. Exercise duty, okay. Exercise duty is imposed on tobacco and liquor. So there are 100 lot of taxes, right? So for the pay and withholding tax and personal income tax, no, nothing. It's pay and withholding tax, all are coming under income tax. Right? It's part of income tax, not part of income tax. It is income tax. It's the form of the collection is different. It could be coming under the pay. Right now it goes as KPIT, or it could be coming under the withholding tax or AIT. That's the payment mode. It's not a separate tax. We have income tax, that is tax on our profit and income. Value-added tax, that is one indirect tax on our value addition. Social security contribution levy, right? So right now we don't have NBD in Sri Lanka. It has been abolished in 2019, and we have stamp duty, custom duty, cess, PAL, port and airport levy, tourism development levy, sugar tax, smoke tax, right? Rates, that means assessment based tax, capital gain tax, that is part of income tax, right? Likewise, there are so many taxes in some. I mentioned that as per the article, the Constitution, Article 148 is empowered imposition tax, and also in Sri Lanka we have provincial council. So they also have some sort of authority imposition tax. They can also impose tax. Right, just like say turnover tax, mineral tax, goods tax, likewise there are so many taxes in Sri Lanka. Right? But in this classroom we are discussing income tax, value-added tax and SSCL based. Right? So purpose is to earn or get revenue. So government to meet up their capital and revenue expenditure. Right now in Sri Lanka, we finance all our revenue expenditure, day-to-day expenditure from this income. Right? That's what the main payment. Loan servicing, interest and loan payment. Right? Government salaries, that type of thing. Right? So whereas in other countries, just like Singapore, they finance their capital investment through taxpayers' money. Sri Lanka right now, we are not expanding that type of thing from government revenue. Because the government has some sort of shortage, right? You know that. Right. So other objectives, economic objectives. So economic objective means that government not only for their revenue target, they may have some sort of objective. So encourage some sort of activity. They can use that. I think you learn in if somebody is learning that what is economy code. Under that, you may have that imposition of tax, demand and supply impact, right? So some activity can be discouraged. Consumption or investment, production, they can discourage, right? So therefore, to govern the economy, they can use tax as a tool. Right? Simple example, say in Sri Lanka, right now, liquor, tobacco, that type of industry, manufacturing and selling or import and selling are liable for income tax at the rate of 45%, effective from 1st April 2025. That is the highest tax rate in Sri Lanka, 45%. Right? So why? Discourage that activity. Whereas we learn in some extent when we are discussing the computation of taxable income. So when you arrive at total your income, there are some expenditure especially allowed to deduct. We can deduct, just like donation. So to encourage that type of activity. So therefore, tax can be used for that purpose. Like good behavior of the society, maintaining good code of conduct and all the governance, we can use. And direct economy, that is economy purpose, social objective. As I mentioned, to good behavior or the maintain good society, they can use the tax can use as a tool. Right? So therefore, basically there are three objectives. Main objective is to earn income for the revenue to government. Second thing is economic objective. Third one is social objective. Right? So therefore you can see here. So as you mentioned that nation will need tax. But in 2009 it was introduced to Sri Lanka. After that, what? 2009 what happened? Oh yeah. So build our nation, we impose nation building tax. Purpose is to build our nation. But we couldn't build our nation, therefore we have taken out that tax. That's what happened. It came as a very insignificant tax, came as now social security contribution levy. That is that economic crash and all those things, right? So imposition and administration imposed by the government always, but 13th amendment to the constitution that gives the authority or the power to provincial council. They also have some sort of authority to impose tax. So provincial council they can impose. Right now they are not imposing, but they have the authority to impose. Right? Actually, it was happened after that. After 2009, you know that at that time that north and east, that provincial council is controlled by some other party. They know that we are not paying government tax. We impose separate. We introduce separate tax to that area. But unfortunately, because if government wants to, or any political subdivision wants to impose that, there should be, the people who can pay that. At that area, there was no, therefore they are not taken. They have not imposed, but they have authority. They can impose taxes. Right? Say some area, just like some mineral resource, where that particular province has, they can impose taxes on that. Some, that some production, just like crackers, firecrackers, and all those things, that area they are imposing separate tax. On the foods production, they are imposing tax. That is as per the provincial council statute. They have separate law. Right. So administration is done by tax authority. Right? Tax authority, they are not the person imposing tax. Tax authority is there to administer law, the execution of the law. Therefore, the ignorant, that tax department, income tax department, income tax, they are not the person imposing tax. Remember, why they are hold their office to execute the law. Then who is imposing tax? Who is government? Parliament. Who is representing Parliament? People. So then end of the day, we are imposing tax on our income. These are members to the Parliament. They pass a they are on behalf of us, right? So then, end of the day, it is not their, what is? They are not, I mean, the person who is burden, passing the burden to the people. People itself, they impose tax. That's how it's happening. Right? So therefore, in Sri Lanka, we have a few tax authority. First one, the main one is we call department or inland revenue department. It's inland revenue department. Income tax department මේ නම මොකද? Inland revenue department. දේශීය ආදායම් බදු. Sorry, දේශීය ආදායම් department. Second thing is custom. Right? Director General Custom is executing tax law which related to the import and export. Which related to import and export. Who is the person who is or the authority? Sri Lanka Custom. Director General Custom is the authorized person to execute that law. Right? And other authorities, excise department, tobacco and liquor, that type of taxes are governed by them. Right? Another authority, just like say tourism development, they are executing what is this tourism development TDL, right? And as I mentioned, provincial tax revenue. So they govern the tax on especially related to the particular province, as well as transfer of immovable property. Transfer of immovable property means land, basically. So transfer of immovable property, it is subject to stamp duty. Right? That is stamp duty is collected or governed by, that law is governed by the provincial revenue authority. Basically, four authorities, major authorities, Inland Revenue Department, Sri Lanka Custom, Excise Department, Provincial Revenue Authority. Right? Okay. So composition of the Inland Revenue Department, because we are dealing with that Inland Revenue Department. I mean, the income tax law is executed by the Inland Revenue Department, right? So its commission is the head person, right? In charge is the Commissioner General of Inland Revenue, Commissioner General, right? Commissioner General, and thereafter Deputy Commissioner General, and then Senior Commissioner, then Commissioner, and Senior Deputy Commissioner, and Deputy Commissioner, Assistant Commissioner. That's how the organization or the flow hierarchy is there. So ultimately, Commissioner General of Inland Revenue is the in charge of the department. On behalf of his, he delegates his authority to below level. Right, that's how it happens. So therefore, you have, when we are reading that, the administrative provision and the executing of the law, we talked about that with Commissioner General and all those, right? Right. Is that clear? So friends, we are in on Teams. Any question you can ask, right? Right. So, what are the components of tax law? Tax law. It's not only that act. So I told you that act is passed by the parliament is coming as a law, right? In Sri Lanka right now, Act number 24, 2017, right? That is that currently operated. Right? This act was introduced in 2018 April or not? 1st April 2018 or not? This act was passed by the parliament, right? Reason was previously we had Act number 10 of 2006, so 6 of 2006. So under that act, we could meet our loan repayment, right? Loan repayment. So we had we obtained loan from IMF. So then we applied another loan. At that time, IMF asked how we are going to pay this loan. Sri Lanka government told, okay, we are going to pay this loan from our revenue, which is from tax revenue. more than I told you more than 80% of our revenue is from taxes, right? From that. So then IMF asks, okay, bring your law and tell how you are going to achieve this target. So previous law there are so many extensions, so many amendments. Because of that, the IMF told that no, you cannot collect this revenue from this side. So therefore, either you have to revise this law or come with a new law. So in our side we made so many proposals, but IMF didn't agree because of that. With that particular law, we cannot achieve the revenue target. Therefore, they have introduced this law. Act number 24/2017. They have proposed to Sri Lanka government to execute. So with the similar act was there in the Ghana country. Right? So you know that in Sri Lanka we are under the UK colonial previously, so therefore we are always following the law, that is Roman law and all those things, right? Structure the laws based on that. But this law is basically US based law. I will show you some area, right? This USA based law, right? But it was customized to fit this Sri Lanka requirement. So you can see 2017 it was introduced, but because you know that in Act, so last 4 digits shows the year which is passed, which is relevant. So actually they want to implement that law in 2017, effective from October 1st October or not. But there was a case against this law, and it was heard by the Supreme Court. It takes time. Thereafter, it was introduced effective from 1st April 2008. That's what happened, right? So, but the law was for the draft in 2017. The still it goes as 2017. So therefore, the act is we call Principal Act. 24/2017 we call Principal Act. Thereafter it is coming as amendments to the Principal Act. Some sections are changed, not all that. Right? We call once they have introduced new law to for the previous law what we had, we call repeal. Previous act is not operating from there. Right? How that law is passed by Parliament, first thing, they are bringing as a bill of Parliament. It is gazetted. It needs to be gazetted. Thereafter, there is a time period that is to any person to make any objection. They are giving some time. Right? They 14 days. So if there is no objection within 14 days, then it is coming to the Parliament, and after the passing by the majority, simple majority, it is recognized as an act. That's how the act is coming. Right? That's how the act is coming. You can see that amendment act was waiting for the valuated act, but it is they have challenged in the Supreme Court. Still, it's not passed because till the Supreme Court has given that order, Parliament cannot pass law. Right? Okay. Who is the superior, Parliament or Supreme Court? Supreme Court. No. Parliament is the superior. Why? Parliament can impose that. Parliament can impose any law. Supreme Court is there to check whether law is in line with the Constitution. Right? That's how. So you know that that is like we can single स्वाधिपत्य. क्या स्वाधिपत्य बहुमत काकांडता एक या the Parliament can pass any law. That's right. You know that saying, if I hit my neighbor, that neighbor hit me, can I kill him? No. Can government kill person? Somebody has done wrong thing, they can impose the death penalty. up to that level that law is empowered. Right? Therefore, superior is parliament. They can impose any law. But it should be in line with the constitution. If it is within the constitution, yes. After passing the law, somebody has not challenged, it is the law. You have to bow. It is binding. Right? Thereafter we can challenge the law. Therefore, before passing the law, if there is any objection, we have to make that objection and it needs to be sorted out with the Supreme Court. Right. So I will tell you good example that what the parliament is superior. You know that one time, this long ago, Sri Lanka person who has hijacked an aeroplane. Say right? He hijacked. So thereafter, that person was caught. He been to Sri Lanka. At that time, as per Sri Lanka law, there was no law to punish him. There was a penalty as per the law. But there was no law to punish him. Right? But he has done a wrong thing. No? Therefore, Parliament has an imposed law effective from previous period. Because that incident happened previously, at that time there should be law. Otherwise, they cannot impose any penalty. That's right. The Supreme Court mentioned, yes, Parliament has that authority to impose law which is effective from previous day. Now Parliament has that authority. That's why Parliament is split. Right. So you can see there are 5 amendments. So we call amendments 21, 22, 23, 23, 25. Only there was no amendment, but there are 2 amendments, 23. And again 25, another amendment is yet to pass. Another amendment will be there. Right? So every year, you can see in every year, there is an amendment. Only 2018 to 2021, there was no amendment. Why is that? Huh? Why? No amendment. No, not COVID. So IMF wants us to follow that law at least for a 3-year period. That's why no amendment. After the 3 years, they change from it. Right? So then gazette notification. So gazette notification also part of law. So as I mentioned, so act should be the law. So what the role of gazette notification is to facilitate the law to proper the smooth operation. That gazette notification works. Simple example. So 11 law says if taxpayer wants to get a authorized representative on behalf of him, somebody to act, he can take that. He can take an authorized representative service. Right? That's why the tax consultancy is there. So because the taxpayer can, because the person is earning money, he is the taxpayer. He has some sort of technical, the knowledge, lack of technology, he can get the expert knowledge, expert advice. Right? So therefore, he can appoint an authorized that says, okay, you can bring authorized representative. So who is an authorized representative? The Act doesn't say. It says only authorized representative. So thereafter, gazette notification says who is an authorized representative. Right? Who is an authorized representative? It is coming as a gazette. So gazette notification is a part and parcel of the law. Part and parcel of the law. Right? It is one component. So other thing is circular. Circulars is issued by either Commissioner General or minister can issue circular. Circular also giving some sort of administrative facility, right? Just like say, as we have mentioned, the pay, how to operate pay, what is the role of employee, what is the role of employee, what are the things that need to be maintained and submission. So that is coming as a circular, right? That is also part of law. Then case law. Case law is the second way or the other way to create law. So I told you that Parliament is creating law. He is the ultimate author, the authorized person to create law. Right? Case law is that is I mean, if there any ambiguity with the law, because you know that we cannot incorporate everything to the law. Right? There are so many changes happening in the world. Therefore, we cannot incorporate everything to the law. As I mentioned that at that time there was no case just like that hijacking of aeroplane and all those things, but we need to incorporate that to law. Right? So case law is there. Is there any ambiguity of the law? So we can take to that matter to the court. The court is the authority that has the authority to interpret the law. So say this is a so law the court say what is meaning by A, right? I could say simple example. You know that agricultural business. What do you mean by agriculture? Agriculture. Tell me what is agriculture? Agriculture means we cultivate something and from there we get something. So it is coming under agriculture. So income tax law previously told that there are 5-year tax exemption for agriculture. Agriculture. Right? Because agriculture means plant and everything which is coming, I mean, there is a natural cause. From there, that crop is coming, right? That's a natural cause around that thing. With that, all those things, there is a crop. So therefore, we are getting that. So that is agriculture, right? So it's about balance. Toddy production coming as agriculture or no? Toddy or carrot? Arkolan kawan, kapten boleh ada. Galle? Agriculture product? Yeah. So can they claim 5-year tax exemption? Huh? If says it is for agriculture, yes, they can pay. Even if says that tobacco and what that thing is liable for 45% tax rate, if it is coming out as agriculture, yes. So then the process of agriculture, it's also coming under that. So therefore, that type of interpretation can be given by the court. We cannot interpret. Whether it is coming under agriculture or not. Right? So once that court this decision has given legal proceeding, if the facts are figures are very similar to the subsequent case, that decision can be used for the same. Therefore, that is also considered as a part of law. Right? So, for the tax point of view, there are so many cases. So, a good example, we'll discuss again under the business. So, what is mean by business? Right? So, a good example, one person who purchased a block of land which is close by a school. Don't speak in the car. Is there a matter? Please, gentlemen, listen to me. Right? If you are not interested, please go outside. Right? So one person he purchased a block of land which is close by a school, right? He tried to find a land close by school to send his two daughters to school. So he found that there was a land which is beyond his requirement. Beyond his requirement. I mean that why we are purchasing a land close by school to have a house. We have confirmed that we are close by the school, no, there are some distance. So for that purpose, he wants to buy a land. But that land is beyond his private requirement. His requirement was what is put up a house close by school. And he found that there's a land that is beyond his requirement. He didn't have money to pay that for that purchase consideration. But he agreed to purchase that land, keeping some advance payment. From he agreed to purchase that land on that date or not, so he tried to find out prospective buyers. What he did, he keep one part to put up his house, other party is locked into the plot and made that access road and put some advertisement. From there he sold that land, balance part. Two parties used, other parties sold. From there he earned some income, and from there he settled the purchase consideration assets, and that after settling that consideration he got some profit. He has declared this as a income which is not liable for tax, because there was no intention of doing business. So that matter take to the court, because tax authority didn't agree. That matter take to the court. So court has given the definition, interpretation, that decision. So yeah, one objective of is what is sending his or facilitating his daughters for schooling. But there was another intention, that is beyond that the private requirement. What he purchased, he didn't have capacity to hold that as a private asset. That's why he tried to find out buyer. That's why he make some sort of preparatory activity to sell that property. Therefore, that income should be liable for income tax as business income. You can see that decision has been given by the court. That we call legal proceeding. Right? In that, so then they have given some sort of interpretation for the what is business. What is business? If any activity, this act says, if any activity with a profit motive, earning profit, then it is coming under the business. Right? Coming under business. So similar case, is there any similar case? That should be very similar. So if the previous decision has been given, we can use that decision as well. Right? So legislator, the parliament enacts law, whereas the interpretation of the such law is vested with the judiciary. Under common law, principle, the decision of higher court become proceeding and are considered example in subsequent matters. Therefore, some of the case on tax matter previously decided based on the previous Inland Revenue Act would also become part of the legal framework of court tax. Right? So that's what. So even today it's happening something similar, right? Vitanesa, Rameshwar case. So we can use that case. The decision given or the proceeding given by the court as part of the right. Other thing is ruling. So basically ruling also given by the court. But as per the law, tax law, there is possibility to issue ruling by the Commissioner General. Commissioner can issue ruling. Right, that's a separate committee, ruling committee, they can issue ruling. That is also part of law. There are two types of ruling as per the law. Actually, in previous law, that doesn't, but they didn't. But in current law, we have. There are two types of law, public ruling and private ruling. Right? You can see in the Inland website, there is one public ruling regarding how to what's the tax treatment for exchange gain? How we should recognize exchange gain for tax purpose? Right? Right. That is also part of law. Right. Then we'll move to the imposition of tax. From there, the main topic is starting. Right? Who shall be liable for Sri Lanka tax? So general in every law, every tax law, section 2 is the main section or the important section which shows who is liable on what and for what period. Who is liable for this tax, on what is the tax base, and on which period that tax is charged. So section 2, which is basically scope of the entire, right? So as per the Act number 24/2017, charging provision or the charges section, section 2, it says income tax shall be payable for each year of assessment. Now income tax shall be payable for year of assessment, right? Year of assessment by who? A person. Person on what? Who has a taxable income. Now income tax shall be payable by a person on what? Who has a taxable income for that year, for that particular year of assessment, or a person who receives the final withholding payment during the year. Now in Sri Lanka, who shall be liable for Sri Lanka income tax? Person. We don't know which person. Right? Person on what? If that particular person has a taxable income. See, we don't know what is taxable income. Whatever income, we recognize as taxable. If that is taxable income, yes. Another thing is O. A person who receives final withholding payment. Right? So that's all. So according to a person is chargeable with income tax when such person has taxable income or receives final withholding payment. The period of tax is identified as year of tax. Financial statement is prepared for which period? Financial statement. Financial statement. 12-month period always. Always 12-month period. What is the period? Now we remember financial for 3 months. 1 month. 18 months. So they can. Yeah, there is no, right? Generally, that component of financial is for a year, but even it doesn't fit, but we can work out financial system for 3 months. Important company, they are publishing their 3 months on the statement, right? So, but tax always for a year of assessment, remember. We are not preparing income tax for 3 months. We are not preparing income tax for 18 months. We are not preparing income tax for 6 months. It's for always for a year of assessment. We don't know what is year of assessment, but income tax is worked for year of assessment, remember. Right? Year of assessment. So, and liable by a person. Person can. Person. So, there is an interpretation for person. Who is person? Right? Who has taxable income. So, just like somebody has the income, we don't know what is taxable, but law says taxable income. For the time being, we'll keep it that. Now, tax is worked out for year of assessment by a person on taxable income. Taxable income, just like some income he received. Other thing is person who receives the final withholding payment. Person who receives final withholding payment is liable for Sri Lanka. So we don't know what is final withholding. So we have some sort of understanding about withholding tax, right? So you don't know withholding tax. So what is withholding tax? General understanding. So bank account and then saving account and then saving account and bank. bank account and saving account adhe kila mana rupiyalaki interest එකක් හම්බුණා දැන් යගේ දාලා WSC without tax කියලා බාන්න දෙන්න. දැන් ගෙදර ගිහලා වයින්නවා මම පොත දෙන්නේ නැහැ. මට ඕනේ මගේ එක කියලා හිතනවා ඒගොල්ලෝ බය ඒකේ parents so why this girl is that time asking that saving right? So you can see that withholding tax. So withholding tax, the definition withholding tax. Withholding tax. Now that means somebody is holding our tax with him. So that's why you call withholding tax. So that means payer who can withhold tax, person who making the payment, who can withhold? Holding part. So he withhold tax. So always then payer is holding tax. Say we put money in the bank. So when the banker is making our interest, he holding tax. So this always that can be held by the person who make a payment. It could be interest, it could be salary, it could be other service payment, whatever payment. At the time of payment, he can hold. Unless he cannot hold. There should be a payment. At that time, he can hold that. So that's why it's called withholding. We learn under the investment income details. So therefore, the withholding, it is whose tax liability? A bank is deducting tax on our interest, but who is that liable for tax? Person who getting that income. It's his liability, but that particular person is what he is doing. He only deducting tax and paying. So he is working as a tax collector agent. He collects tax and pay to the government. It is not his tax liability. It is the income owner tax liability. He is deducting. So some withholding tax recognized by the Revenue Act as final withholding. Meaning is once that payer has deducted tax at the time of payment, there is no more tax liability on them. So you heard about dividend, right? You know dividend. Company declaring dividend on their profit. Once the company has profit, they can distribute dividend among their shareholders. When the company making dividend payment, company is deducting tax, it goes as withholding tax. Right now it's called advanced income tax. Only name got changed. Advanced income tax. Right? So when the company distribute dividend, they are deducting tax at the rate of right now 15%. In Sri Lanka it is 15%. So say they are requiring 100 rupees dividend, they are deducting 15%. I am getting only 85 rupees. 15 they are deducting to the department. So excess, that is final withholding. That means once the payer or the company deduct tax, I don't have to pay any tax. I have already paid 50%, so that is my final tax. Whereas, say, bank is paying interest to me, right? When the bank makes the interest payment, effective from 1st April, they are deducting 10% withholding tax, right? Previously it is 5%. So we'll keep it minus 5% because your year of assessment is 24-25. So 5%. But it is not recognized by that as a final withholding. In such case, if I receive that type of income, I am liable to pay tax. What is the rate applicable to me? What is the rate applicable to me? So same example, say I get 100 million dividend, I have to pay 15%, so 15 million goes, there are no tax. Say I am getting 100 million interest, bank is deducting only 5. It is not final withholding. So I have to work out my tax liability, considering that income at the rate where I am liable. In case of the company, it is 30%. In case of the individual, in Sri Lanka, it could be 36%. Right? So that's the difference between final withholding and non-final withholding. So final withholding recognized by the Act as fine. This is fine. Unless Act says it is not fine. So section 18 says These are final withdrawals. Right? That's the difference. So for the time being, you keep it that. Right? Right. So therefore, in Sri Lanka, any person whose tax liability will be from his tax on taxable income. One part is tax on taxable income, other part is tax on final withholding pay. Right? That is the person's tax liability in Sri Lanka. Right? Tax on taxable income, other one is tax on final withholding pay. Right. Taxable income is calculated based on section 3 of the Act. The final withholding payment as defined in section 88 of the Act. The applicable tax rates are provided in the first schedule of the Act. There are schedules. In the schedule, it says what is the tax rate, right? So, final withholding, the withholding mechanism. Say one person is providing services to another person, and he has to pay. At the time of payment, he is deducting tax. We call tax withheld. That is sent to the Illinois tax authority. So it is receiver's tax liability. So we call withholding agent and withholding agent. Agent on behalf of the government is collecting tax. That's why it's called withholding agent. Okay. Right. So who is person? So as per the Illinois Act, section 195 give the interpretation. Some section itself give some interpretation, but generally 195 section 195 gives interpretation. So it says person means an individual or entity. It says person means individual or entity. Individual can right? Right. Person means an individual or entity. Right? And includes a body of person, corporate or unincorporated, an executive, non-governmental organization, and charitable institution. Now they have given the definition of the person. Person means it says individual. So remember, in the definition or the interpretation, there are two types of interpretation. One called inclusive, other called exclusive. Inclusive includes 1, 2, 3 similars. Exclusive hariyatam make. So it says means exclusive, and there it says including. So both definitions are there. So therefore, that the person, what is individual? Individual means natural person or entity. Entity and includes body of person, corporate or unincorporated, and executive, non-governmental organization, and charitable institution. Right? So then, what is entity? Entity means a company. Say it says means, not includes. Means a company, partnership or trust. Only three entity. You can say exclusive, it's limited. Means ABC. That's all. So means company, partnership or trust. Entity. But exclude an individual. So that's right? Individuals not come in separate recognized. So therefore, summary: person, an individual, an entity. Entity has three: company, partnership or trust. A body of person, corporate or unincorporated, an executive, a non-governmental organization, a charitable institution. Right? That is the meaning of person. So individual, okay, right? Individual, you know. So now entity also you know. Company. So company definition is there in the right. Generally you know what is company. And the person created by the law. Partnership, two or more persons, blah blah blah. Partnership. Trust, just like some sort of organization set up for some activity. Right? So the meaning of the trust is basically could be with some parties arrangement The objective may be different, right? A body of person, corporate or unincorporate, what does it mean? Body of person, corporate or unincorporate? So it says, I mean the collection of persons, unincorporated or unincorporated, gathering of persons, whether registered or not. Example? Example I can run. NGO in NGO venom. Bank can company generally company. Body of persons, I mean the collection of persons, they are not registered or the registered or not. They are not bothering you. Family business is a business, right? So it could be coming as a sole proprietorship or partnership or company. Body देगा कितना? Anybody who is playing cricket? Cricket club playing ना? Srilanka लाना cricket का लाना? Srilanka लाना है और एक सारी इसका भी बनाया है। क्या मैं मार्गदर्शन संग किया? Body of person, incorporate or not? The tax law doesn't go on. They are not bothering about whether they are registered or not. Body of person, association, cricket club, another club, whatever club, it is coming under this. Right? That's not meaning. The body of person, corporate or unincorporated. Whether it is registered or not, it is part of we have considered as person quota. Right? Again, Mangala something tax year on plus. Huh? What is this? What the I mean, DNA and church again, society, they need to pay that. Right? So, and executor again, so because of the dead person, somebody is acting on behalf of that dead person. So, executor. Reason is, you know why? In the case, I obtain a 100 million loan from one party and they can go. So, who should pay that loan? Eh? Right? Loan So, finish, right? So, but it to be one, in capital taxes, the taxpayer is that income should be come, right? So somebody has to pay tax. You know, I can remember tax year until that income is coming to that particular person's name, somebody has to pay tax. His name is executor. Right? Name is executor. He is recognized as executor. Person who works on the deceased person. Right? A non-government organization. Not government organization, non-government organization. A charitable institution. What is charitable institution? In your eye. You are working What is charitable institution? Charity? Charity? Religious activity which is doing, the entity which is doing religious activity. Yeah? Okay. So, yeah, tax law is a different definition for charitable institution. But charitable institution, they are to not to do any business, right? Purpose is not to do any business. Do some sort of promotion of religious activity or some sort of support to the society, social activity, right? That type of thing. So that is also there in the definition of person, right? That means whether the charitable institution should pay tax, කියනකො පන්සලෙන් ටැක්සි ගන්න පල්ලිය ටැක්සි ගන්න approve charge has to pay tax අනිත් ගන්න approve charge ගන්න is that me right that's so make a definition is so in say I mean let's say we are doing some sort of say what is helping others. Now Myanmar has the earthquake now, so we want to help them. So we set up I mean that institution and we go there and help them. Do they need to pay tax? That's the meaning. No, that is not the meaning. So who is liable for tax? Person. So on what? If they have a taxable income, yes. If they don't have a taxable income, no. It doesn't mean that temple can go to church again and they are not. But if the temple is running a business, yes. Right? Church is running a business, yes. So nobody, that's what I mentioned. So say because say a good example I will explain later. It means so if somebody is not coming under the meaning of definition of person, then he is not liable for Srilanka tax. First thing, he should be within the definition of person. Second thing, he should have taxable income of finally solid. If it is the case, they are liable, otherwise it is not. Right? Say example for charitable institution, that is also case. Supreme Court decision they are given. You know that what is this charitable institution? There was a definition in the Economic Act previously. It says enhancement of knowledge, doing some activity for the enhancement of knowledge, right? The elimination of poverty, that type of activity coming under charitable institution. Enhancement of knowledge, actually the entity which is formed as a international school. They charge from the student and they do what is educational services. So international school also part of that one. Why? They do enhancement of knowledge. Therefore, they also claim that we are charitable institution, we are not liable for tax. Right? So you can see that, but if the charitable institution is having taxable income or receives final withholding amount, they are liable for tax. Right? That's the meaning. So if somebody is not within the meaning of person, then we can collect tax from them. That's right. So you can see whoever which is coming under this category. That could be if you are a natural person or any arrangement, that type of activity. Right? Right. Recap on any? What? Nah, paragraph pada kate. So how many? I mean, the names are only one postcode for this stretch. There are three connections. Yeah. Another two badges. On the stretch, we have separate coordinator, no? Yeah. So the person who is on team. So team is there. So that is the extension. They are doing, but we can pass it over. So are there any coordinators? The person they are doing online. So that is the 30 extension. We are 16 able. So I need the quantity, how many meters are overlapping, so other things are okay, so there are groups zero, 2788, 544. 2788, 544. Zero 74, 5. Prakash.
ஒரு கடைசியில பார்த்து போனது அதோட கேள்வி இது போட்டியா மெம்பர்ஷிப் கிடைக்க மெம்பர்ஷிப் போட ஒரு வருஷம் இது காட்டலாம் அது வச்சு எல்லாரும் போட்டு சைன் பண்ணிக்கூடா நம்மளோட தானே போடுறது ரெஜிஸ்டர் நாட் ரெஜிஸ்டரி நீ வந்து அந்த இதில் சைன் பண்ணிக்கணும் இந்த ஃபார்ம் இருக்கு இந்த ஃபார்ம் இல்லைடா வெப்சைட்ல ஃபார்ம் இருக்கு போட்டு எடுத்துக்கலாம் நான் அணியா நான் மாற்று எல்லாம் இந்த மூலமா இருந்து அந்த ஒரு விஷயம் பண்ணணும். அதுக்கப்புறம் வேற லெவலில் இருக்கு காசு நீங்க பண்ணி பாருங்க. நீங்க பண்ணி பாருங்க. இது ரெண்டு நான் சஜஸ்ட் பண்றேன். கூப்பிட்டாலும் வர முடியாது. அப்படிலாம் பண்ண முடியாது. வேற வேற லெவலில் போகணும். எக்ஸ்போர்ட் பண்றா ஆப்டிகல்ஸ் இம்போர்ட் பண்ணி டிஸ்ட்ரிபியூட் பண்றா மற்றவன் அட்வர்டைசிங் ரொம்ப
So mark your attendance. So mark your attendance, please. Right. So what is body of corporate partnership? Means a company partnership trust or other body of person whether home in Sri Lanka or elsewhere. That means if it is incorporated in Sri Lanka or elsewhere, it shall be considered as a body of person, right? Company. So the definition for the company as given in the 11 law, you can see. So it says a corporation, unincorporated association, or other body of person. Still, it is coming under the company. It not necessarily what the company incorporated under Company Act. It says corporation, unincorporated association, even association, or other body of person includes a friendly society that is also coming under the company, holding society, pension fund, provident fund, retirement fund, superannuation fund, or similar fund or society, and a government excluding Sri Lanka government, a political subdivision of a government or a public international organization, but exclude a partnership or trust. Because partnership or trust we are separately at that. Therefore, you can see the company definition. What we are using is not the definition for tax purpose. Right? Even association, trade association, club, society, that type of thing also coming under the definition of company. Right? For tax purpose. Therefore, the persons includes a individual entity. Entity includes company, partnership, or trust. So company means this is right. Exclude a partnership or trust. Trust and partnership, we are taking out the definition of the company, right? And the following shall be deemed to be a company. Shall be deemed to be it shall be considered as a company. What? A partnership is in which at least 20% of partners have limited liability for the debt of the partnership. The partnership. So what is the meaning of that one? It's interesting to say what is limited liability partnership. In Sri Lanka we don't have. That's the point of that. This is US law. In the US, yes, we have limited liability partnership. Right? So therefore, say limited liability partnership also considered as a company. Unit trust. So unit trust also coming or mutual fund to which section 59 applies. So don't worry about section 59. It says unit trust or mutual fund. So unit trust or mutual fund. So unit trust is trust where it just like operate as a company, but they are permitted to do some sort of activity on it. Right? They are actually units. Just like they are collecting money from investors, small investors, and they go and invest in a market or whatever. Thereafter, they are giving the income to the income portion to the respective unit holders. And that's how, just like capital investment, that type of unit trust in Sri Lanka we have. So it's just like company. But they are doing only passing through that income to the unit holder. That it says unit trust or mutual fund. That is also same. Just like venture capital and all those things. Right? That is also coming here. But section 59 says. Section 59 says what are the activities that can be done by the unit trust. If they are not doing that type of thing, that is for the tax purpose. If they are not doing that thing, that is also coming under the definition of company. Right? Otherwise, it could be coming under the trust. That's the meaning. Right. So now, what is year of assessment? Now, definition they have given. What is year of assessment? Right? Year of assessment. So year of assessment is to say for the tax purpose we know that person chargeable for Sri Lanka income tax period is year of assessment. So what is year of assessment? So year of assessment is the period of 12 months. It is 12-month period commencing on the first day of April. It's the 12-month period commencing of the first day of April and ending with 31st day of March in the immediately succeeding year. That means next year, just like. So immediately succeeding year means after the passing of this year, what is the next year? Right? It says starting from first day of April ending with 31st March. Therefore, income tax always we work out for a year of assessment. Year of assessment definition is starting from 1st April and ending with 31st March of next year. That 12-month period we consider as year of assessment. Remember. Right? So accounting year starting from when? Yeah, it's depending on the company. The management can decide, right? So what is the year? They prepare financial statement. It could be from 1st April to March. Generally Sri Lanka like that. But we have calendar year. What they are using as reporting year, right? Some could prepare financial for 1st June to 31st March. Likewise, May. Likewise, they can do. It's the discretion of the management. They can set up that as per their management policy. But for the tax point of view, it's always from 1st April to 30th March. 31st March of the next succeeding year. Right? So that 12-month period comes as year of assessment. So therefore, taxes always work out for the year of assessment for that particular period. We are not work out for a calendar year, not any other year. So it should be always year of assessment. Year of assessment means this is. Right? Right. So remember, for the corporation, for the company and trust, they can make an application to the Commissioner General to change their yellow permit. Company and trust only. They can make an application to change their yellow permit. That if the Commissioner General approve them to make any period other than this, it is considered as yellow permit. Example, in Sri Lanka, you know, most of banks, they are preparing financial statement from Jan to 31st December of the same year. So if they have obtained an approval of the Commissioner General, that is as their year permit, yes, they can continue. But it should be approved by the Commissioner General. Commissioner General issuing a letter confirming that yes, this company they can work out their taxes for this period. Other than this, the year permit is stated in the 11 Act. But individual they cannot change. Only company and trust they can change. They can make an application and upon the approval of the Commissioner General, they can change the year permit. Right? Right. So therefore now you know who is person and your person. So then what is taxable income? So now person is chargeable for Sri Lanka income tax for year permit on taxable income or receipt of final withholding payment. So what is taxable income? It says taxable income says, so as per the section 3 says taxable income from employment. I believe that you have learned that one in the previous stage, right? Taxable income from business, we learn here. Taxable income from investment, taxable income from other sources. Remember, for tax purpose, the income should be, we have to categorize for these four categories. No, there is no income for interest. But it should be accessible income from investment or accessible income from business. Right? So, no, there is no income for dividend. It is element of whatever that either accessible income from business or investment. So, therefore, this talks about accessible income. Now, we know that tax is chargeable on taxable income. Before that, they are talking about accessible income. So, therefore, before we work out the taxable income, we need to work out the accessible income. Right? Accessible income. Right? So, there are four sources to accessible income. We call source of income. Only these categories. That means the source means how that income is generated to person. There are four avenues. Only four tax purposes. It could be employment, could be business, could be investment, or other. Right? So whatever income, it should be falling under these four categories. Right? So therefore, income is generated only these four sources. It is what is employment, business, investment, or others. Remember. Therefore, and also it should be dominance principles. Whatever income we receive, first we have to check whether it has attribute of the employer. So access what is employer. Right? If it is not, then we have to check whether it has that attributes of business. So access what type of things are coming under the business. If it is not, then we have to check whether it is coming under the investment. Tax law says what is the investment and what is the element of investment income. If it is not, then we have to check whether it is coming under the other source. Right? So thereafter the total income we call total accessible income to the person. From that total accessible income, we can deduct only two items. One called qualifying payment. Second thing is called relief. You can see whatever income comes through this source of income, accessible income, only two items we can deduct. That is qualifying payment. But we don't know what is qualifying payment. What is payment? Then it could be some sort of expenditure. Right? This is payment. Qualifying payment. Qualifying payment is simply qualifying for tax purpose. Whatever expenditure qualifying for tax purpose, it is called qualifying payment. Just like that. Relief. Relief means some sort of grant, some sort of benefit. So that is also not income. So remember, whatever income come here under the assessable income, it goes till taxable income. Therefore, there is no chance to deduct any income from assessable income. What we work out under the assessable income, all the incomes we work out under the assessable income, thereafter there is no chance to remove that. Right? Whatever come under the assessable income category goes to till taxable income. Only two items we can deduct. So then we have to be careful when we work out assessable income, correct income will be considered. Otherwise, there is no chance to remove any income from that. Right? Understood? Right. Only two items can be deducted. That is under section 52. What is qualifying payment? It says qualifying payment, some payment. So we learn, in our later discussion. So then relate some sort of benefit. Only that two items we can deduct. Thereafter, it is recognized as taxable income. This is the definition for taxable income. Right? So taxable income of each person. Taxable income of each person. Now we know who is person. Each person. And the assessable income from each source. Now we know source. There are two source. The source. We know that there are four sources only. Each sources shall be determined separately. So each sources need to be worked out separately, and each person's taxable income should be worked out separately. That means it is not recognizing joint person. So even for tax purpose, we husband and wife, then tax purpose is two persons, two individuals. Therefore, their taxable income should be worked out separately. Right? So say in the say partnership we are working, right? Okay, so husband and wife, they are doing some sort of business. So it's either husband or the wife, right? For the their part, yeah, husband business se कराए, wife business कराए gila, ऐसा नहीं है. Right, for the tax purpose, so we have to separate, we have to recognize separately. Right? It says, that's what it says. Taxable income of each person and assessable income from each source need to be worked out separately. Right? Clear? Right. Still we don't know these things, right? All these says taxable income, assessable income, but remember, first we work out the assessable income, then we go to the taxable income. When we work out the assessable income, there are four types of source we recognize. That means source means income generated point. How that income is generating for tax purpose. For employment, business, investment, other source. Right? That order should be there. Because first is whether we have to check whether it is coming under the employment income. Second thing is, if it is not coming under the employment income, then we have to check whether it is coming under the business. So third one, whether it is coming under the investment. If not, whether it is coming under the other source of income. That is the order. Right? Right. So I explained our previous one in that Ramesh case that says that it is whether it is coming under the employment, business, investment, other source. Court decide that it should be coming under the business income. Business income. So you can see that is very difficult to figure out whether it is business or whatever thing, but you can see. So the attributes are given in that, so we need to recognize what is the employment, what is business, what is investment. Right. So assessable income. So now we do work out taxable income. We first we have work out the what is assessable income. So it says section 4 says assessable income for person for a year of person from each source shall be based on such person residential status. So we have to recognize residence. It says for a resident person. In case of the resident person, the income from employment, business, investment, or other sources for the year wherever the source arises. In case of the resident person, it says for Sri Lanka tax purpose, if you have worked out the assessable income, We are not bothering about where that income is generated. Right? Wherever the source. Source means where the income is generated. Wherever the source. We are not bothering about whether it is from Sri Lanka, whether it is from India, whether it is from Australia, whether it is from USA. He says, as the law says, wherever the source arises, whether it is from moon, whether it is from sun, whatever it is, wherever the source arises, that's how his law says. In case of a who? Resident person. If the resident person is having an income as per the Sri Lanka law, he is treated as a resident person for Sri Lanka tax. This is tax purpose. As per the law says, he is a resident person. So we are not bothering about where that income is receiving, generating. Right? But in case of the non-resident person is saying the income from employment, business, investment or other sources for the year to the extent that the income arises in or is derived from a source in Sri Lanka. So in that case, in case of the non-resident person, if there is an income, it is generated from Sri Lanka, then he is chargeable for Sri Lanka tax. When we work out the taxable income from a non-resident person, we have to check whether there is income generated from Sri Lanka. If it is the case, when we work out the taxable income from a non-resident, we have to consider. Otherwise, no. For the time being, resident and non-resident, resident means person who is in Sri Lanka. Right, just like that. Non-resident means not in Sri Lanka. Person outside Sri Lanka. It's fair, right? If somebody is in Sri Lanka, so we have to consider all the income when we work out taxable income. Somebody is not in Sri Lanka, then he should not work out how to pay tax in Sri Lanka, right? That's the meaning. So if somebody is getting income from Sri Lanka, if there is a source in Sri Lanka, then when we work out taxable income, that need to be considered. Right? Right? Clear? Right. So then how to determine the residency? Section 69 says, so how to recognize the residency? This is for tax purpose. Right? It says, in case of the individual, this is for an individual. Individual shall be treated as resident for Sri Lanka tax purpose. If he resides in Sri Lanka, that means he is lived in Sri Lanka, he shall be considered as resident individual. Resident individual. Right? He is present in Sri Lanka. So this is a little bit critical. He is present, that individual is present in Sri Lanka during the year, and that presence falls within a period of periods amounting in aggregate to 183 days or more in any 12 months period that commences and ends during the year. So it means, just like it says, if somebody is physically present in Sri Lanka, who? Individual. Physically present in Sri Lanka, that counts more than 180 days or 180 days or more than that. 180 days means how long? Per year, how many days? 365 or 66. So 183 means how much? Half. So if somebody is physically present in Sri Lanka more than 180 days for any 12 month period, it doesn't count for the year of passage. It says any 12 month period. Right? So that person shall consider as a resident person for Sri Lanka income tax. Okay? That is as per the tax law. Right? Then an employee is an employee of or an official of the government of Sri Lanka, and his spouse is posted abroad during the year. That is especially applicable to official of government. Right? Employee or official of government and his spouse posted in outside Sri Lanka. That means on behalf of Sri Lanka government, they are employed outside Sri Lanka. So and the second rule, it says if somebody is physically present in Sri Lanka more than 180 days, he shall be treated as resident person for tax purpose. So second thing, irrespective of number of days they are physically present, if they are government employee or official, even though they are posted outside Sri Lanka, that means they are outside Sri Lanka, still they are considered as resident individual for tax purpose. Right? Clear? So last one, is an individual who is employed on a Sri Lanka ship. Is an individual who is employed on a Sri Lanka ship within the meaning of the Merchant Shipping Act during the period the individual is so employed. Somebody is employed in Sri Lanka ship. So that ship means that it's registered under Sri Lanka law, right? During the period he employed, he shall be treated as resident person for Sri Lanka tax purpose. Right? Is that clear? Right. First thing is person who resides in Sri Lanka. That means he born in Sri Lanka. Right now he is in Sri Lanka. He is all the business or whatever activity, economic activity we call vital of interest, habitual level. He is willing to live in Sri Lanka. That type of person is considered as resident individual for Sri Lanka tax. Second thing is person who physically present in Sri Lanka more 180 days or more for any 12-month period. For that period, he shall be considered as resident individual. So, section 69 1B is applicable for which kind of individual? First thing is no doubt, like you and I, we are resident person for tax purpose. Right? Second thing is to which kind of individual? Either somebody is going outside Sri Lanka or somebody comes to Sri Lanka. But as per tax law say somebody comes to Sri Lanka, he stay more than 100 days for any 12-month period. For that particular period, he shall be considered as resident individual. Somebody going outside Sri Lanka and not physically present in Sri Lanka more than 103 days, so then he shall be considered as non-resident person. Right? So other two exception thing that is says in case of the government officer or employee and which is his spouse. Spouse can you? And it can. Right? So both can be treated as Sri Lanka resident individual during the period but they work for Sri Lanka government. And fourth one is individual who work in Sri Lanka, employed in Sri Lanka ship. Then understanding the first thing is what if somebody should be within the particular lands, right? In Sri Lanka, land or whatever thing. We call Sri Lanka definition that's what right? Sri Lanka in a connect marine. So second thing is somebody also physically present in Sri Lanka. The third one is on behalf of Sri Lanka government, somebody is working outside Sri Lanka. Fourth one is somebody working for Sri Lanka ship, employed in Sri Lanka ship. Because that ship එක වැඩ කරන කෙනෙක් බලුවාම එයා මොනවාස කොයි ලෝකෙ ඉන්නවද කියලා දන්නේ නැහැ. ship එක කොළඹ වරායෙන් එළියට දැම්මට පස්සේ එයා ඉන්න පුළුවන් ඉන්දියානු සාගරේ මැද. දවස් දෙකේ දවස් තුනක්. වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඉන්දියානු සාගරේ ඉඳලා ඊට පස්සේ යන්න පුළුවන් අට්ලාන්ටික් සාගරේ. ඒ තාම මොහොතේ. Right? So then that's why it says if somebody is employed in Sri Lanka ship means it's registered on Sri Lanka Shipping Act, Merchant Act. So that particular period, employment period, he shall be considered as resident person for Sri Lanka tax. That is only for Sri Lanka tax. Is that right there in making? Now that was second unless he is in the some project of outside space, right? So I can make it low. Right. Right, change of residence. So in says section 70 also attached to the section 69 is same thing. For the 69 1B says under the B subsection, so that particular period he shall be treated as only for that particular period. He physically present in Sri Lanka, so for that particular period he shall be considered as resident individual. That's the meaning. Right? So I don't know whether online people can see. So it's just like this. Now you know our year of participant is started say 1st April 2024 and it goes till what the period? March 2025. That is the year of participant. Right? Go back to so somebody come here. Come to Sri Lanka assuming that 1/5/16/2025/24. And from that day we have to consider 12 months period. 12 months. That particular 12-month period, if that person is physically present in Sri Lanka, individual is physically present in Sri Lanka 180 days or more. So that period, for that period, he shall be considered as resident. That's the meaning. For this period, that period is a non-resident. Non-resident. That is the definition for section 69 1B. In case of the individuals who come to Sri Lanka, from that day we have count 12-month period. That's why I say any 12-month period. Starting from any year of birth, starting from that year of birth. And it could be anything with other year of birth. But that 12-month period, if physically present in Sri Lanka more than 180 days, he can be considered as resident individual for Sri Lanka income. Not any other thing, right? Just because of this being resident, we are not getting that permanent resident or whatever thing, right? It is for tax purpose. So, एक බලන්න ඕනද අපිට එයාගේ මොන ආධාරයේදී කලින් dual citizen it's not valid. Right? American married Kata Americano කොහොමද ඒවා අපිට දාන්නේ somebody is physically present more than 180 days. Yes, they are resident individual for Sri Lanka tax. So this happened during the COVID period. Foreigner කෙනෙක් ලංකාවට ආවා. They couldn't go back because of travel ban and all those things. If somebody physically present in more than 180 days, sorry, they are resident individual for Sri Lanka tax. So what is the danger? We become a resident and non-resident. What is the danger? Become a resident. Reason no. What is the danger? So somebody recognize a resident individual for Sri Lanka tax means his taxable income when we work out, we are not bothering about where that income is coming. That is the difference. That is the danger. If somebody recognized as a resident for Sri Lanka tax purpose, we are not bothering about where that income is generated. The Australian person, individual came to Sri Lanka, he stayed in Sri Lanka more than 180 days, so it should be considered as a resident individual for tax purpose. Right? Income generated, it says wherever, even Australian income. When we work out the taxable income, we have to consider. Right? That is a danger. So therefore, tax law it is very the particular, right? So in case of the partnership, So it was formed in Sri Lanka, that means established under the law in Sri Lanka, formed in Sri Lanka, registered or whatever thing as per the Sri Lanka. At any time during the year, management and control of the affairs of the partnerships are exercised in Sri Lanka. The partnership management and control is exercised in Sri Lanka. It shall be considered as resident partnership for tax purposes. Right? Right. So in case of the trust, a trust shall be resident in Sri Lanka for a year of payment if it was established in Sri Lanka. Trust is established in Sri Lanka. At any time during the year, trustees of the trustees resident of Sri Lanka. The trustees are resident. Then trust shall be considered as resident trust. So basically, in trust there are two parties. So trustees, beneficiaries. So they are the person who are getting benefit of that thing. Just like trustees, just like this. Say, parent wants to give their asset to their children, but children are not in a position to take off that one. Say they are minor, right? Or they are insolvent, so whatever they can create a trust and they can transfer the asset to the trust. And the trust, there is the person called trustees. Their responsibility is to look after this asset and give the benefit to the beneficiary. Right? So then beneficiaries is getting the income or they are protected. That is the purpose of this one. So they are looking after this. That type of arrangement called trust. Right? So that's a simple example I can give. So then trustees are not the owners of the trust. What they are doing? They are managing this one. The owners, actual owners are beneficiaries. When they are reached that age or when they are in a position to take off that asset, that they can take that. Right? So in this case, if the trust is established in Sri Lanka, it shall be considered as resident trust, or trustees are in Sri Lanka. Trustees not established in Sri Lanka. Right? Say trustees established in other country. But trustees are in Sri Lanka. Then this trust shall be considered as resident trust for tax purposes. Right? That's the second thing. At any time during the year, trustees of the trustees resident in Sri Lanka. So at any time during the year, person resident in Sri Lanka direct or may direct senior managerial decision of the trust. It means not necessarily trustees. Any person resident in Sri Lanka directs or may direct senior manager decision of the trust, whether the direction is made along or jointly with other person or directly or through one or more interposed entities. In such case, that trust also should be considered as resident trust for Sri Lanka. Just like this. Right? There is a trust. The person in Sri Lanka says at any time during the year, persons reside in Sri Lanka, a resident in Sri Lanka, directs or may direct managerial decision. He is taking managerial decision. Alone. Go with another person. direct alone or jointly with other persons, or direct or through and one or more intercourse entities. So not directly, there may be another entity in between, right? What is senior managerial decision? Somebody is taking over the trust, then this trust shall be considered as resident trust for Sri Lanka. That's the meaning. You can see how in this context, if it's not necessarily in Sri Lanka, trust. It could be elsewhere. But Sri Lanka person is resident in Sri Lanka who is taking the managerial decision. All trust, senior manager decision, jointly or along or within or with interposed entities, it shall be considered as resident trust for Sri Lanka tax. Right? Right. In our case, this part is most important. I mean that we are discussing the same in the provision when we are discussing the non-resident tax liability. So in case of the company, it says it is incorporated or formed under the law of Sri Lanka. The company is incorporated under the law of Sri Lanka. Say just like say Companies Act, we can create a company. So if it is under the Sri Lanka income or the Companies Act, yeah, it is definitely shall be considered as resident company for Sri Lanka tax. Right? Second thing, its registered or principal office is in Sri Lanka. Registered or principal office is in Sri Lanka. So generally, if a company incorporated in Sri Lanka, then we have to give registered office address. Under the form 1, you may heard that. So we have to give the registered office address. If it is the case, so definitely it is form under the anyway, form under the law in Sri Lanka. So it is resident company for Sri Lanka tax. Or if it is registered, let's say, but registered office or the principal office in Sri Lanka, then still again it shall be considered as resident company for Sri Lanka tax. At any time during the year, the management and control of its affairs of the company are exercised in Sri Lanka. That is a danger. It says not necessarily be incorporated in Sri Lanka, but management and control is exercised in Sri Lanka. That particular company shall be considered as resident company for Sri Lanka. Right? So how do we recognize that where the management is happening in case of the company? Company management is happening in Sri Lanka. How we can decide? Who are managers of company? Company manage control. Okay, then. Okay, we try now. Now, our company manage. Right? Company manage करने को directors. They are taking the manager decision. Where the directors are located? If they are in Sri Lanka, and from there they are taking decision over the company, then that is the point where the management is happening. Right? So then company could be incorporated somewhere else. But if the board of directors here and they are taking manager decision over the company from here, so then that company shall be considered as what is resident company for Sri Lanka tax. So in other case, the company deemed to be non-resident is the following circumstance: the company registered office or principal office is not in Sri Lanka, outside Sri Lanka, and management and control of the business is exercised outside Sri Lanka. In that case, that particular company shall be considered as non-resident company. Example? Non-resident company example as in the no, we have to check whether that company is incorporated and whether we do management in Sri Lanka or not. Principle of the Sri Lanka. Example for another company. Another company example. කොමාන කවුරුද දැකලා තියෙනවද HSBC කියලා බැංකුවක් කියලා? HSBC දැකලා right. HSBC not incorporated in Sri Lanka. Their principal office or the registered office also not in Sri Lanka. Right? Their managerial decision is not taken in Sri Lanka. But HSBC is doing business in Sri Lanka. They have, the branch office all over the country. So HSBC is a good example for non-resident company. It is incorporated outside Sri Lanka. Their principal office is outside Sri Lanka. Their board of directors also outside Sri Lanka. There may be country representative or manager, senior manager in Sri Lanka. Other staff also in Sri Lanka. But they are not a resident company for Sri Lanka tax purpose. එහෙම නැතුණා නම් HSBC එක ලංකාව වුණා නම් රෙසිඩන්ට් වුණා නම් ඒ ටැක්ස් එකෙන් අපිට IMF ලෝ එක මේ ලෝන් එක ගන්න. So they are not a resident company. ඒ වගේ ගොඩක් කම්පැනි තියෙනවා ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ ඉතල බලන්න. That's what I tell. I told you morning that ඔයා එළිය යනකොට ඔයාලට පේනවා ටැක්ස් තියෙන තැන. Right? HSBC not resident. That is Standard Chartered Bank not resident. Indian Overseas Bank. China other bank. Right? They are opening up. What is in Sri Lanka? What they have opened? HSBC Sri Lanka branch. They have branch office in Sri Lanka. Only branch. Right. So now we know in case of the company. So the assessable income of a company for a year of company is the aggregate of following elements. So basically, in case of the company, it is very rare chance for them to get an employment income. And for the law, as per the law, company is just treated as separate legal person. But it's very rare to get their employment income, right? So assessable income from business, assessable income from investment, assessable income from any other source. So basically, assessable income of company could be either business or investment, otherwise other source of income, right? So reason is that. So what is the purpose of incorporating a company? Why we are starting a company? Earning profit, yes. Main purpose is, intention is generating income generating. So then it could be business purpose, right? So our company is not incorporating for the investment purpose. Investment companies here nahi hai. So are they do business or investment? If their purpose is to do investment, even it is earning profit, so then it is coming as a business. I will give an example. Say if I go to the bank and I open a fixed deposit with bank. Fixed deposit. I put my excess money into the bank and the intention is getting interest income. Right? That could be considered as investment to me. To me, it is investment, right? Because for the the business and investment we'll learn separately. The main difference is business and investment. The business, that effort of the investor is much more. Risk is taken. We call he has to actively participate to generate income. So we are starting a shop. So then we are days and night we have to work for it. But investment, so we need not to actively participate for that. It's a passive income. We call passive income for tax purposes. We put money in the bank. We need not to worry about whether tomorrow bank will be there. And morning, do I need to go to the run to bank and whether they have computed my interest? No. On the day, I am getting that interest. So my effort is very minimal, as well as risk also very minimal. But in case of the business, my effort is high compared to the interest. So now, as I mentioned, so I go to the bank and put an FD and I'm getting interest income. So that is my investment income. So what the bank is doing? Bank income statement එක ගත්තොත් එයාගේ income එක මොනවද තියෙන්නේ? Bank එකේ income එක මොකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්? Bank එකේ income එක interest income. So what they are doing? They lending and they borrowing. Right? අපි යහම අපි අපේ බැංකුවට ගිහලා loan එකක් ගත්තා. ඒක අපි යා මොකද කරන්නේ? මෙයාගෙන් ගත්ත සල්ලි මට දීලා එයා interest එකක් ගන්න. He is earning interest. So if you analyze the bank's comprehensive income statement, top line should be, so we call gross margin, interest and interest income and interest expenditure. Right? Their income also interest. So I am also getting interest. They are also getting income, but they are doing as a business. Then it is not their investment income, it is their business income. Is that clear? So difference between investment and business income, right? We'll learn again, right? But that is the general. So therefore, in case of the company, so intention of that company is to earning profit. So whatever activity they are do for the earning of profit, it is coming under the business income, right? So then investment income also may be there. Say we are a manufacturing company, so therefore we manufacture something and we are selling. We have excess money which need not to put it to my business. Therefore, I can keep that money separated. I can put it in a treasury. So that could be considered as investment income. So where that excess money, I can temporarily put in some investment. So I am getting interest. So that could not be part of my business because intention of the company, setting up a company is running as a manufacturing. Between I can do. Say I put up a building. So right now I am occupying part. Other part I can rent out. That could be considered as investment income. But generally, running a company, it is purpose is business. Therefore, so in case of the company, the main part of the assessable income is coming from what the source? Business income. Right. So assessable income from business. So business, that they are telling that what is the meaning of business interpretation. You can see a trade, profession, vocation or isolated arrangement with a business character, however short the duration of the arrangement. So tax law doesn't worry about what the period they are doing. Even short period. Or one transaction. It says trade, profession, vocation. Trade, profession, vocation. Or isolated arrangement with a business character. So business character, main character is what is that? Earning profit. If isolated arrangement, only one arrangement, what the intention is? Earning profit. So then it is coming under business. Trade, profession or vocation. That is also coming under the business income. Right? Trade, profession or vocation. We are not bothering about time period it is engaged. It could be one transaction. As what I gave the example previously, he did what? He purchased a land and locked it and sold to others and earning income, get a profit. So, but as for the decision, court decision given that it is part of business income, right? Profession and vocation. What is profession? Profession. Definition for what is the profession? What do you mean by profession? Professional line. Professional professional. So what is profession? So example for profession. Example like what? Lawyer. Okay, good. Lawyer. Architect, doctor. Yeah. So profession means they are obtaining a professional qualification. They are having a professional qualification. That qualification has been obtained from a professionally reputed institute. Doctor किवाम अपनी दम बेच जाने को रहना दम यार और क्या निका डॉक्टर की लगाना देना मेडिकल क्लिनिक की लगाना ना भैया और दम की लगाने जाना अभी हाँ अभी बारना यार मना दिन क्या है श्रीलंका है ना MBBS की लगाना है so what is that what the assurance why we are going to the MBBS qualified doctor अभी इतना आगे भेज जाता तो अभी भेज देना right again we expect that person carries the what is knowledge experience and the standard අපි දැන් ගිහිලා දැන් නම් ඉන්න ડોක්ටර්ස්ලා තමයි අපි කියවන කියන දේ දෙන්නට දන්නේ එහෙම නැත්නම් සාමාන්‍ය ડોක්ටර් කෙනෙක් මොනවද කරන්නේ එයා බලනනේ ඔයාට මොන කියනවා අපි කියලා කියන අපිට වුණා right අපිට වුණා තියෙනවා අපි කියන්නේ doctors decide whether why that reason cause for that root cause for that one he do some test it could be some sort of allergy and එතකොට තමයි අපි තේරෙනවා ආවරණානේ කැවද කියලා වරන් තේරෙනවා he had something and thereafter I feel bad what they know so that but because it's a what indication fever is one indication only it's not a malady or the decision it is some sort of indication you are there is a trouble in your system so he can decide how he can decide with his knowledge he obtained from that following the professional course right and his experience yeah say ara කාලේදම ඉගෙනන කාලේදම යනවානේ so that's why then ඊට පස්සේ and he has some sort of the skills he is using right professional skill ඒක තමයි අපි නලාවදී බලනකොට අපිට මොකක්ද වෙන්නේ එහෙනම් දඩ බඩ ගන්න විතරයි බලන්න තියෙනවා डॉक्टर की क्या की लगा बहुत देर बाद पता है कि नाल या हमारा हानि लग जाना है right so he has that he can decide right samara balala kena yeah you have this melody your sugar is going up or out of that thing and you have this stuff okay right he can decide right so that type of person we call professor so using that qualification if he earning some money that is coming under the business income that is coming under the business income why he used that qualification and from that qualification he is getting that income it is recognized as professional income which is coming under the business income right so vocation training center is vocation means what type of thing it is not a professional qualification but it's a technical qualification that particular person has technical qualification or he has some sort of skill or experience that experience he used to earn money right just like say carpenter අපි කියලා දැන් carpenter තාවම අපි කියන right අපිට මේක එකක් තමයි හදන්න ඕනේ කියන එක විතරයි යා දෙන්නේ so then he is coming with okay then if you are doing this should be the way Right? Whether he has some sort of technical education background or experience. Right? එහෙම ඉස්කෝලේ ගිහලා නැතුව ඒවල කාපෙන්ටර්ස් ලා ඉන්නේ. ඒවල අපිට මේ අපේ විද්‍යාවක් අහන්න බලන්න ඒවල දෙන්නේ. Or experience. Training, whatever thing, then he can earn money. So that is coming under the vocational income is part of business income. Right? See, now you can understand what is business. So business means either trade definition, there is a definition, profession or vocation. Now profession or vocation also coming under the business income. Right? A past percent of prospective business. It could be past business because of that income, because of the past business, present or prospective future business. Somebody is getting that income, shall be coming under the business income. Excluded employment, but employment is not coming under the business income. So what do you mean by employment income? Employment income? What do you mean by employment income? What is employment income? Right, employment income is little different. So here you can see, employment income is we are recognizing employer and employee relationship. Employer and employee relationship. Somebody is employer. He is the master. He is getting your service. You are working as a good service provider, but under the contract of employment. Right, there is a contract of employment. Under that, you are providing services. So, from that, somebody is getting income, that is coming as the employment income. Right? There is the employer and employee relationship. By providing that services, as per the agreement, he is getting income, that is coming as the employment income. So then, what is the difference between say profession? So employer make one because employment income I can't find that. So you can see that employer and employee that contract. So if somebody is working with a company or some other party, you can understand that employment contract condition, right? So under the employment income, so all the conditions, terms and conditions are given by the employer. Right, employer තමයි කියන්නේ ඔයා කීයටද වැඩට යන්න ඕනේ කොච්චරක් වැඩ කරනවද මොනවද කරන්න ඕනේ කොහොමද කරන්න ඕනේ everything is given of all the direction. But in case of the profession it is not the case. Right, he is taking that is profession. Vocation also same. Right, vocation also same. Right, that is the difference between the employment and profession and vocation. If an activity amounts to a business, it cannot also be an investment. So, I mean the example, I can give that example, the employment and profession, say doctor, the same example doctor. You can see that doctor could be working for a government hospital. So, national hospital is working and afternoon he is in a channeling center. Right? So what is the employment income? What is this business income? So in the government hospital where he worked for a Sri Lanka government as government employee. There is a contract with his government, and all the facilities provided by the government. Right? They are he is going and doing his service. By the journalist center, he is doing we call private practice. He is practicing. आप ये सुनिए. जरा देखना कि लगा कि channel center का. If you are going there, he has all the equipment to provide that particular service. Right? He is taking decision. Key of the makeup, key to the bank. But in the government, it says, okay, morning, this time you have to report. That how many hours you have to work. Right? Likewise, conditions are given by the employer. So that I could use a simple example. Right? Right. So in case of this business income, investment income. So that's a dominancy principle we need to follow. If it is coming under the business income, so we have to work out on the business income. It's not coming under the investment income. In the provision of that, once is dominant over the other. Hence, a person is just passively holding assets is the case of investment. That means passive income. So they are not much putting effort to hold the assets and earning income. So then it is coming under the investment. Rather than a business. Accordingly, it is very important to understand the constitute of business. Any income that a person might derive from an asset without active management, engagement, it is considered as investment income. However, if an amount is derived in the context of the business which is effectively connected with the business, it is treated as business income. Right? Irrespective of whether it is mentioned in section 7 which expands the investment income. Right? Right. So what are the things that need to be included to another business income? So these things need to be included. As access, these things need to be included. But service fee. So what type of activity? Service fee means what is the business? They are providing only service. Consideration received in respect of trading stock. Consideration received in respect of trading stock. What it means? Sales. Consideration received in respect of trading stock means sales. Trading stock. So that is something getting. That means sales. Gain from the realization of capital assets and liabilities of the business. That is also business income. Realization of depreciable assets of the business. That is also part of business income. Considering for accepting or restriction of business activity. Sometimes a person may receive some amount for agreeing not to do business. That is also part of business income. Gift received in respect of business. In gift received in respect of business. That is also we need to consider as part of business income. Generally, gift is not coming under the income, right? අපි හිතමු ඔයාගේ තාත්තා දුන්නා මොනවාරි සල්ලි. දැන් තේනවා? How it goes that it's a loan or gift? Gift උත් නෙවෙයි loan උත් නෙවෙයි ඒක මගේ right එක. That's all, right? For the tax purpose it is gift. මොකද gift එකකයි sale එකකයි අතර තියෙන difference? Gift එකකුයි එකකුයි අතර තියෙන වෙනස මොකක්ද? Transaction, sales transaction. Consideration. So it's on the cash. If they are cash, there is no requirement to repay that. If they are we have to give a ticket. Right? How about that? If they are about this. Right? So, but if the gift is in connection with the business, yeah, we have to consider. Right? Right. It is considered as part of the business income. However, if the gift is kind of trading stock, depreciable asset of business asset, that will have a cost equal to the amount included in the income. Amounts derived that are effectively connected with the business and that would otherwise be included in the calculated gross income from investment. So any other amount that need to be considered as per the law, if it is that income should be considered as part of business income. Right? You can see generally whatever income received as per this law, it is coming under the in connection with the business. It should be considered for tax purpose. Right? What is how we connect that if it is connected with the business or the employment, the gift, how we can check. You can say simple example I could say, you know, if you put it money in the bank, sometimes they are giving gift that April la andrenda gandu karnela gila sali damma me yo pugade 25,000 damma pugade. So it connected with the investment. Just like say we purchase something for our business. If they are giving, say, okay, if you purchase more than this thing, we are giving this one.